Why can't you pray for the speedy recovery of these kids who literally just got shot yesterday, while at the same time committing to making sure this doesn't happen again, or that it happens as infrequently as possible?
Every single time there's a mass shooting in this country, decent and good and empathetic and caring, normal people have the response of wanting to do something to prevent it from happening again. And like I said the other day, there is no pile of dead bodies of children that is too high for Republicans. Nothing will make them shed a tear, maybe even the death of their own child at the hands of a gunman. Maybe not. The only thing they offer is thoughts and prayers, thoughts and fucking prayers, which is good for them. It helps them, I guess, feel good and feel like they're doing something. But let me put it like this. In an election, if you choose not to vote, but instead pray for whoever you want to win, how do you think that's going to work? Do you think it's going to have an impact? Maybe if your prayers, Republicans, bring it in. Seriously, come on, bring it in. If your prayers are so powerful as to impact policy, as to impact the continuation or lack thereof of mass shootings where there is mass carnage and death at the hands of a gunman, if your prayers work that well, why don't you pray for the outcome of elections instead of actually voting? JD Vance tweeted this: "It is shocking to me that so many left-wing politicians attack the idea of prayer in response to a tragedy. Literally, no one thinks prayer is a substitute for action. We pray because our hearts are broken and we believe that God is listening." Literally, no one thinks that prayer is a substitute for action. Then why will you not act, JD Vance? Why is it the only offer prayer? You offer zero solutions. This tweet was followed by an interview on Fox News where he said virtually the same thing, which really should lead you to believe and understand that this was a workshopped statement from JD Vance, not an off-the-cuff thing. He tweeted it, barely edited it with what he said on Fox News.
My final point on this is when I see far-left politicians say, "How dare you offer thoughts and prayers? You need action. I don't care about your prayers. I care about what you're going to do to prevent this from happening." Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't you pray for the speedy recovery of these kids who literally just got shot yesterday, while at the same time committing to making sure this doesn't happen again, or that it happens as infrequently as possible? I don't think there's anything inconsistent about saying a prayer to God for these innocent, beautiful kids, while also thinking constructively about how we're going to prevent this from happening the next time. You can do both of those things. You can hold a thought, both of those thoughts in your head at the same time. And Will, if you are a politician or you're a media commentator and two beautiful babies just got murdered while praying, and your politics force you to condemn prayer in response to it, you ought to get new politics, because something very wrong has gone on inside your soul.
Which far left politicians are you talking about, JD Vance? Because that term has lost all meaning or relevance whatsoever when it comes out of your fucking mouth or out of the mouth of your dear leader, Donald Trump. Because you people act like Chuck Schumer is a far left politician. You people act like Mark Warner or Cory Booker is a far left politician. Moderates, at the very most charitable, those people are moderate Democrats. They're not far left politicians. But when I see these far left, how dare you offer your thoughts and prayers? You need action. I don't care about your prayer. I care about what you're going to do to prevent this from happening. Why does it have to be one or the other? Well, it's because prayer helps you feel better. Prayer, if it worked as well as you say, would have prevented the entire shooting in Minnesota, because the children were in pews in a church, literally fucking praying, you ghoul. They were in a church. Apparently, the prayers that they were offering up to their God did not create a force field to protect them from the bullets shattering the windows and entering their little frail bodies, killing them. I'll say what I said the other day. There is no Olympic-sized swimming pool large enough to fill with blood of dead kids that Republicans will grieve over. They offer their thoughts and prayers. And it's not just me who's infuriated by this. There are millions and millions and tens of millions of good and decent Americans who cannot fathom the lack of response, the indifference, the callousness that's put on display by Republicans in the wake of dead kids. Tina Smith, senator from Minnesota. I sat with her just a few weeks ago, and I came out of my meeting with her, looking her in the eye, talking about her friends who had been murdered at the hands of a Republican gunman, an assassin. And this is a good woman. This human being has deep compassion and empathy. I'm not a person who gets dazzled by politicians. And of all the people that I met that day, Alex Padilla, Cory Booker, but someone I greatly admire in Jamie Raskin, I was dazzled by Tina Smith. She had this to say, and keep in mind, she's not a bomb thrower. She's not bombastic. She is demure and quiet and thoughtful. She's not a Jessie D. She's something entirely different and better. She tweeted this: "How dare you go to Annunciation School and tell our grieving community, in effect, guns don't kill kids. Antidepressants do. Just shut up. Stop peddling bullshit. You should be fired." Now, this tweet was in response to a video that was posted by, I believe, Aaron Rupar of Robert Kennedy Jr., the non-scientist, the non-expert on anything other than contracting brain worms. Robert Kennedy Jr., he's going to tell you what's up about dead kids. It's not the guns that are the problem for RFK. No, it's antidepressants, as though America is the only country where people take antidepressants. You realize how stupid an argument that is, right? That the reason we have dead kid after dead kid after dead kid after dead kid after dead kid in school after school after school, in state after state after state, in city after city after fucking city is because of antidepressants. Well, what about all the people who take antidepressants in Great Britain or in Iceland, where a higher proportion of people take antidepressants in Iceland than here in the United States? How about that? Why are they not seeing piles of dead babies from gun mass shootings? Could it be because of the guns? Could it be? Watch, again, non-expert Robert Kennedy Jr. give his expertise, of course, on Fox News.
Prevent it, and we're still trying to get a lot of answers to a ton of questions. But the one thing is clear: you are dealing with a person who's trans, that was transitioning. Are you going to be examining at all some of the drugs that are used in order to make that transition happening, to see if it plays a role? Because we also know there was a trans shooter in the Tennessee situation.
Yeah, we are doing those kind of studies now at NIH. We're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence. You know, many of them on there have black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. So we can't exclude those as a culprit, and those are the kind of studies that we're doing.
So I've never seen that medicine, but you're saying that if you get it, some of the side effects could be homicide, suicide?
Well, there are black box warnings on some of these psychiatric drugs that warn about in their clinical trials that they saw suicidal and homicidal ideation. So, we are going into that with an open mind.
We're launching studies about things that might be the case. They might be the case because it aligns with your particular political persuasion, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That how lucky for you that you get to promote your conspiracy theories while also serving the will of the National Rifle Association and every other ghoul who wants weapons of war in the hands of untrained, unqualified, unwell individuals. I don't know. I don't have answers. I don't know that anyone does, because it's been decades and decades and decades and decades of this with no end in sight, with no concern in sight. Because why? We rely on thoughts and prayers and not political solutions. Thoughts and prayers are for spiritual problems, the way I see it. Policy is for real life problems, policy problems, societal problems. The problem of 100,000 dead babies and kids at the hands of shooters. Anyway, what do you think? I would love if you got a solution. You can share it with me in the comments wherever you're watching this video. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.